I will declare this congregation open. We have two faculties represented today in Engineering and Science. It's my pleasure, first of all, to welcome Professor John Liggett, Vice Dean for Knowledge Exchange in the Science Faculty, to introduce the science graduates, and then we'll swap over, and Dr. Julia Race, who's Vice Dean for the Academic Activities in the Engineering Faculty. So John, with that, I'll pass over to you.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Master of Science in Clinical Pharmacy, Anan Yusuf Hausawi. Natalie Stradi. In Industrial Biotechnology, Bilal Ali. Jack Jarvis Armstrong. Lucy Breen. Amy Brown. Natalia Campos Gallego. Georgina Camps Paradell. Clara Cosa Garcia. Jacob Gourley. William Yule Grant. Thomas Harris. Rhys Kerr. Alina Liz Manoj. Robert Hugh Matthew. Ewan MacDonald. Iro Paraskiva. Megan Rose Fee. Damante Robasauskaite. Eve Richardson. Shanine Lynn Smith. Spyridon Sipsis. Taxaporn Yinkarunchit. Ross Young. In Neuroscience and Mental Health, Jamie Emilio Edwards. Claire Frodsham. Lucy Ann Morton. Anna Simonova. In pharmaceutical analysis, Nicole Alice Barrett. Akhtar Said. Alexandros Soutsios. Erin Wallace. For the degree of Master of Pharmacy, in Pharmacy, Ailey Pottinger. Aisha Said.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Construction Technologies and Building Information Management, Rabi Cherayatan. Maria Karofalaki. Mohammed Naji. Aaron Richardson. For the degree of Master of Architecture in Architectural Design International, Ahmed Kadim Moanz Al-Saidi. Anmol Aaron. Kenneth Chang Wee Jian. Cham Zeng Chi. Sindhu Deshkulkarni. Sanya Halim. Aishwarya Kohli. Lee Chun-ji. Madeline Liu Shi Chi. Alamin Ali Alamin Mandri. Somaya Prabha Mantha. Runmai Pandit. Bhargav Somaruthu. Tay Ji Eng. Yao Chin Sheng.
Well, that was all very efficient, so let's relax and give this collective cohort a big, rousing round of applause. Well done. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, Strathclyde graduates, as you are now, let me reiterate a very warm welcome to all of you to this wonderful ceremony. A day that you'll never forget, and nor should you, because we mark now the conclusion of a successful number of years of hard work, and you've graduated now in front of your parents, your supporters, your classmates, and those that have helped you through your journey. And today we welcome guests from all across Scotland, from across the UK, and indeed a wonderful international community too, and we're delighted to see you all here to join in the celebrations with us. Strathclyde University is an institution where freedom of thought is valued and encouraged. We're a place that seeks to be both inclusive and tolerant, and where people of diverse national, cultural and social backgrounds come together here in this wonderful institution to receive an excellent education, to mature and make great friends for the future, but also to have a shared student experience as you embark on your careers now. And at Strathclyde, we benefit from having staff and students from over 100 different countries. Strathclyde is a socially progressive community and one that seeks to be an exemplar for modern society. We're plural, we're multicultural, and we seek to be enlightened. And I'll come back to that in a moment, because we were founded during the Scottish Enlightenment, and we take our roots very seriously, and we take that responsibility now into the next stage of our development. And it's our responsibility, it's your responsibility, graduates, to continue to challenge unacceptable practices, including by those in power. And we can only look at the headlines over the past few weeks to understand that we have a right and expectation for high levels of behaviour and integrity. And we should do that by using reason and by exemplifying the best features of modern society. But of course, today, most importantly, we're here to acknowledge your hard work, the learning that you've built up, and the successful completion of your degree course, because that now, of course, is going to become your passport to making a full contribution through your career and to society, in spite of the flux that we're still facing. And today, as I mentioned earlier, we're having the series of in-person graduation ceremonies since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, which has indeed had far-reaching impacts on us personally, professionally, and an unprecedented impact on all of our lives. It's challenged our health systems, and as we know, as we cautiously move into winter, we have to redouble our efforts to be responsible, be optimistic about where we're going. We're in an awful lot better position than we were this time last year, but we'll also acknowledge and embrace the fact that everything has changed in the way that we work and study, and I salute all of you, that your resilience and hard work is taking you through. I know what have been challenging times, but I should also say that my outstanding academic staff and support staff that work around them did everything that they possibly could to bridge you into your degrees over the past year or so. But what we have demonstrated in this place and society at large is that by collaboration, by having a shared vision, and by working together, and quite frankly, removing a lot of the barriers that we make for ourselves, we can achieve a lot. The Vaccine Task Force here in the UK, between our colleagues in industry and academia, and working with the regulator and government, showed you that we can make enormous progress in the availability, manufacture and distribution of vaccines that we now have benefited from, came through collaboration, trust, confidence and excellence. And I would ask all of you to embrace those principles as well. So health and public health is one thing. The existential challenge of the 21st century, of course, is climate change and sustainability. We had the joy and the challenge of hosting COP26 in Glasgow over the earlier part of this month. I spent much of the past 2 weeks down in the Blue Zone, engaging with our colleagues from across the world, be they politicians, lawmakers, industrialists, fellow academics. And whilst occasionally it felt joyously chaotic, it was very well intended. And there's been some criticism about the outcomes of COP26. I don't share that view of what happened. I think without unpacking all the detail, the inclusion and references to hydrocarbons and coal for the first time has been important. But I think it seems to me, having spoken to some COP veterans, this meeting was different because we recognised that we don't have the luxury of time and prevarication to move to action. And a place such as Strathclyde has been heavily involved in the run-up to COP during COP, and through various advisory things that we do. I co-chair the Scottish Government's Energy Advisory Group with the First Minister. I sit on the Prime Minister's Council for Science and Technology. We now need to move to action at pace, at scale. And your generation, graduates, should be holding me and my generation to account. And as you now step forward as the leaders of the next wave of how we deal with these things, you go forward in the confidence that I think your own personal socially progressive commitment and the education you've got at Strathclyde should allow you to step up and move things forward. And we were able to have similar words with a very special guest we had on the campus last week, where we hosted ex-President Barack Obama here on our campus at the Learning and Teaching Building, which of course you'll see some of that after this ceremony for the reception, where he came to our campus to engage with young people, recognising that they were the change agents. You are the change agents that will make all the difference. And the week before COP started, we had the joy of hosting the Conference of Youth, where we have lots of highly well-felt opinions, but the pleasure of having young people lay out an agenda that the lawmakers have to take heed of. And of course, we need to work hard, and I'm an electrical engineer. And you remember maybe Thomas Edison, famous inventor, and also an electrical engineer, said that genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. I'm sure your own efforts have been a wee bit more sophisticated than that ratio suggests, but I buy into that. I was brought up here in Glasgow. For those of you who come from the city, you may recognise a sunny hamlet called Govan. That's where I was brought up. My father and my two brothers worked at Fairfield Shipyards, and I was the first one in my family to go to university here, as it happens. And Govan's motto is nihil sine labore, which means nothing without hard work. So you're all clever people, you're all highly accomplished, but that magic element of hard work, focus, determination and delivery will make all the difference to you. And I would recommend that you keep that principle close to your heart. And today now you've become Strathclyde alumni, and you're the latest of our torchbearers, just like those in many generations of graduates that have gone before you. And with all that you've successfully come through now, and very well done in that, I'm sure that you couldn't have done this without the backing and encouragement of the community of supporters that have been around you, including those in the room with us today. And it's fitting that we acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates and the university at large owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. So, to our graduates and to my academic staff, let's join together now and take the opportunity to thank the families, the friends and the supporters for all that they've done to make your journey successful. Thank you very much indeed. And for my excellent academic staff, many of whom are on the stage with me today, this is an important day because your success is their reward. And we've worked hard to provide you with a high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So, Strathclyde graduates and families, please join with me now in saying a big thank you to the academic community for all they've done in the learning process. So it seems a shame I need to give you a quick bit of Strathclyde history just as you're leaving the hall, but be aware that Strathclyde University was established in 1796 as Anderson's Institution, named after our founder. So we're 225 years old. Although that's true, I like to think of us as a 200-year-old startup company with that same sense of excitement and purpose from the time of our establishment. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. And that's that we were established, and I quote, for the benefit of all mankind. And we were the only higher education institution to be established in Scotland during the time of the Enlightenment, a time of challenge, universities connecting to society, meaningful outcomes from education and research. And we're now driving forward our university strategy in that same spirit, making it wholly relevant for the 21st century. Our founder, who was a physicist, or as he was called in those days, a natural philosopher, John Anderson, left in his will a wish to have established a place of useful learning here in the city, and hence Anderson Institution came about. And that thinking was well fitted to the time of the Scottish Enlightenment. And Anderson was friendly with Benjamin Franklin, a historical name I'm sure you've come across, Franklin, again, was an inventor and academic. Benjamin Franklin was part of the group that founded the University of Pennsylvania in 1751, and their motto was useful knowledge. And that inspired John Anderson and the community that Franklin engaged with here, as well as the European side of the Enlightenment. And we then came into being as Anderson's institution with useful learning at the heart of what we do. And that motto that please take with you out of the hall today should be remembered by all of our staff and students. It still defines our purpose as a leading international technological university that is also committed to being socially progressive. For example, in the buildings that you will have passed today on the way to the Barony Hall, our academics and our students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight disease. For example, we have several drugs on clinical trials in the areas of cancer treatment, kidney disease, infection management, and inflammatory diseases. Strathclyde community are also producing new energy technologies and influencing national and international energy policy to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. We are revolutionising global manufacturing to help create the fourth industrial revolution, so-called Industry 4.0, using robotics, data analytics, AI, automation, in areas that you represent in pharmaceuticals, medicines manufacturing, not just discovery, but then production, manufacturing and delivery is key to touching and improving people's lives and life prospects. Our students continue to work in Africa, establishing clean water and power supplies, deploying healthcare systems in remote communities, and introducing advanced communication systems and infrastructure. Our colleagues in health tech are bringing prosthetic limb and bioengineering technologies to those in need in India. And down in George Street, we have our Technology and Innovation Centre, a flagship building that's now created the Glasgow City Innovation District, which is generating approaching £500 million of gross value add to the Glasgow and West of Scotland economy. In those buildings, we're working on energy, photonics, bio-nanosystems, pharmaceuticals. And I mentioned Thomas Edison earlier on. He talked about his teams as being his inventions factory. Well, TIC has become our innovations factory. And we've reinforced our leadership in this whole space of innovation, where we translate great research to products, systems, and solutions. I'm now working with the Glasgow City Council, Glasgow Chamber of Commerce, Scottish Enterprise, and others to now move towards another £150 million investment in that space between High Street, Albion Street, and Ingram Street, focusing in on quantum technology, fintech, medical technology, industrial informatics, 5G comms, and space technology. A little-known fact, which we need to talk more about, is that outside California, the west of Scotland makes and manufactures the biggest number of satellites in the world. Who knew? Well, the space technologists did, and we now need to bring that investment and the creation of jobs around a new horizon industry as well. So, through useful learning, we also offer business and industry the tools they need to be more innovative and to promote economic growth. That helps create jobs, opportunity, and profiles Glasgow around the world as well as our country, and that helps create a better quality of life that's both sustainable and much more healthy. But very importantly, as I've mentioned, what we do most importantly for all of you, you are our most important contribution to society, the people that we educate and send you on your way in your career. That's extremely important. We help people transform their lives and the lives of their families. As I've said earlier, we attract many first-generation university students here to Strathclyde, and we've thankfully received a lot of external recognition, unsought on our part, over the past few years. In recent years, we've been recognised by the UK Times Higher Education Awards. You might call it the academic Oscars, and we're the only university in the UK to have won the University of the Year twice, most recently just as the pandemic struck, the Entrepreneurial University of the Year, the Business School of the Year. The Herald announced us as the Higher Education Institution of the Year, Sunday Times as the Scottish University of the Year, and very importantly, we were named the Higher Education Workplace of the Year, which was meaningful for me because that talks not just about what we're achieving through academic endeavour, but how we collaborate and operate as an organisation. So be aware that Strathclyde continues to demonstrate an ability to have a disproportionate impact, principally through all of you, but our excellent undergraduates and postgraduates, but in the quality of our research and the highly effective ways that we create value by working and partnering with public and private sector organisations. We're a driver for economic growth in this country, and Strathclyde has a distinct role. So universities have to be seen as an investment to society, not as a cost. Strathclyde's budget is north of £400 million per annum, about £100 million of which comes directly from Scottish Government. But in the round, Scottish Government invests about £1.2 billion in the sector, and we deliver back as a higher education community over £10 billion worth of value into the economy. And certainly the achievements of the science faculty and the engineering faculty are exemplary, whether it's building out the new National Manufacturing Institute, which is out at Glasgow Airport. When you're next flying out for business or pleasure, you'll see an enormous building with a serrated purple roof. That's the National Manufacturing Institute. It's between that building and the infrastructure, about £180 million worth of investment, along with the Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre, been delivered in partnership with GSK and AstraZeneca. Here in the city, now working out on the Glasgow City Innovation District, all underpinned by the great research undertaken by my academics and the great people that we educate, and then many of whom stay with us for master's degrees, as lots of you have done, or even PhDs. So this virtuous circle of great education, discovery research, applying the magic element of useful learning and translate that into great people, such as I have before me and indeed behind me, and in partnership deliver so much more. So that's the exciting context, colleagues. Let me move to a conclusion in which you should view your awards. You're now graduates of a university that places students at the heart of every decision that we make, and we value excellence, of course, in education and research, and we continue to create strong and distinct relationships with society at large as well as the business world. And we operate on the international stage. The company that we keep is amongst the very best in the world. In the United States, our partnerships lie with Stanford University. We have a long-standing relationship in photonics, laser technology, that is, now quantum, and MIT, a place that I had the pleasure of working at for a while in sabbatical, on energy and biophotonics and much more, with New York University, and now a very strong relationship developing with Waterloo University in Canada, and right across the globe. In China, we work with the top 2 universities, as well as with many others, University of Peking and Tsinghua, also in Beijing, as well as the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and all parts between, not least through the UK and in Europe, because in spite of Brexit, which challenged the whole system, challenged society, we have to continue to collaborate, and that is very meaningful for all of you as you seek to develop your careers, as well as the opportunity for us to discover new knowledge, e.g. vaccines, e.g. low-carbon technology. And of course, all of you, our students, have developed and benefited directly from being part of an international university. That helps you emerge with the skills necessary for yourselves and for Scotland to play a full part in the world. And you've been exposed to the richness and value of different cultures and traditions. But most importantly, graduates, you leave here today understanding your obligations as global citizens. So, last thing I'll say is that apart from our international connections, widening access and participation in the Strathclyde education is key to us. We remain the Scottish research-intensive university that has the highest number of young people that come here from a widening participation background. Some 1,300 of these students joined us again this year from some of Scotland's most challenged communities that I come from. And they come here because they have the wherewithal, they have the ambition, and their families and parents and supporters of the vision for them to take an education and kick them on to the next levels of opportunities. So, if I characterise your university, Strathclyde, in 2021, I would describe us as having ambition, focus and momentum, with the agility and commitment that's necessary to continue to deliver on our strategic mission. And we have to continue to absorb and ride through the continuing challenges in the sector. It's a great privilege for me to lead this great institution. I have great support from my academics, from my executive team, and from our broader community of academic professional staff and support staff. And I truly believe that our founder, John Anderson, would recognise what we're doing now as the realisation of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment. So we now seek, in our modern society, to be an agent for positive change here in the city, across Scotland, the UK and beyond, and all of you in the Barony Hall today. I'm certain that today's graduates will have enormous impact on society and that 2021 can truly be a vintage year. You've shown resilience, maturity, and we're really proud of what you've achieved under occasionally challenging circumstances. So with that in mind, as you leave the hall, you don't just leave with your award, but take that responsibility with you. You're joining a community of some 200,000 Strathclyders around the world, an absolute wave of talent and ambition, and be proud of that. And I'm sure you'll meet plenty of Strathclyders in your next journey. But remember that whatever you do with your degree and wherever you pursue your career, useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefit of others. Please make a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to. Respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and do reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. These characterise the core values of Strathclyde. And with regard to today's celebration, we're here to mark your fantastic achievements, and well done to all those that have received their degrees today. On behalf of Strathclyde, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to every one of you. I wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch, let us know how you're developing, and well done, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. Just waiting for a signal from the back of the hall. Fiona? Aha. I've just had that age-old signal of a thumbs down for the weather. Nonetheless, there will be an academic procession from the stage. We'll go to the back of the hall. Some of us will peel off to get our robes off. But the courageous Piper, who's not too far from us, he will continue to process over to the Learning and Teaching building. Please join us. There's a reception waiting for you with our refreshments, and it'll allow us a chance to catch up with you. It looks, to use a euphemism, quite fresh out there. But do join us at the end of the ceremony and come along, and we can meet in some informal environment. So once again, let's have a round of applause for our new graduates. Well done. And with that, I declare this congregation closed. Please be upstanding. Thank you.